Okay, Cami with the Mama Diaries, I will be sending you time cues in the chat. You can go ahead.
Okay. Hi, Patrick. Hi, Everett. I'm Kami. I write for the mamadiaries.com. So nice to talk to you both today.
Hello.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You as well. So I saw the first 2 episodes and I want to see the rest.
That's great.
You left me in suspense. So I'd love to hear about the inspiration behind creating My Dad the Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of get that conversation started. I mean, the first inception of it, Pat and I were working at Sony. We were working like on movies that, you know, we were like not feeling quite as invested in. We were kind of like talking about like, well, like, why aren't we feeling it? Like, what would we want to do? And kind of out of that conversation, we started talking about all the stuff that we love, right? Which is like grounded sci-fi, family stuff, like, you know, and also we wanted to kind of put our own sort of experiences like at the center of that. And you know, we talked about how much we loved like stuff like Goonies and like E.T. and like Stand By Me, these movies that centered around kids that were like we haven't seen in a long time, right? Like kids who were like actually in peril, like learning things, you know. And Pat shared this awesome story about him sneaking to his dad's car, and you know, go for it.
Yeah, no, and I think like stories that are about kids, but that aren't just for kids. Like E.T. is not just a kid's movie. Like Stand By Me is not just a kid's movie. Jurassic Park is definitely not a kid's movie, but as a 5-year-old, I was like, yes. Like this is even though my mom would only let me watch the first like 4 minutes of it over and over until I was like in first grade. So I had to imagine the rest of the movie. She would want me to tell the mommy diaries that she was, you know, protecting me. But yeah, no, we really wanted to make something that was like, didn't feel little kiddie. We don't want to talk down to kids. It's like, give them something more substantial. They're watching way darker stuff than what we're doing. They're watching Walking Dead and stuff like that. So it's like, if you're gonna do kids stuff, you've got to kind of offer more to keep them in the kids lane if you want to keep them there.
Right. I agree. I mean, I have an 8-year-old and he watches, I mean, he's obsessed with like Marvel and everything. And some of that stuff gets a little creepy, but he loves it. I mean, you know. So I really enjoyed the relationship between Lisa and Sean, the brother-sister relationship. It reminded me of myself and my younger brother growing up. You know, like I was super protective of him, yet at the same time, you know, that line in the first episode where she's like, you can't pick on him, only I can pick on him. Like that was really, really awesome. Can you talk about just like creating that dynamic between them?
Well, it's funny you say that you related to that. Like that's literally like I was totally inspired by because I was a younger brother and I had my older sister was the one, and that line is directly quoted from her. Like there was a point where she had like found some bullies who had like beat me up, and she went, and that's what she told them after she kicked their butts. So like that is literally inspired from my life. So you know, and which I think that's why it feels so real, right? Like we're just pulling from our own experiences. So
I relate to Lisa as an older sibling. I'm like, I had to go beat up the kid who was picking on my sister.
So the first thing I did when I heard about the show was I looked up the cast, and I saw Yvette Nicole Brown, and I met her a few years ago, and like I was super psyched because she's just a great person. I mean,
she's amazing.
You could just talk to her about anything, and she's awesome. So, you know, aside from her, you know, the cast in general is incredible. You have so many great people. How was the casting process?
It was actually really fun. I mean, like there were a lot of people that we had in mind that we wanted to get right away, that we were lucky enough to get, like, you know, wanted Priya, but then there are like all these surprises. Like I feel like Jacoby was such an amazing surprise. I feel like it's funny how we came to Riggle, because we kept saying like someone like Rob Riggle, but we never thought about going after actually.
Well, because we never thought like we could get him, and then they're like, do you guys want to try? We're like, oh yeah, can we do that? Like, you want to do our thing? And yeah,
he's down.
There was also, like Jim Rash, Yvette Nicole Brown. They are just so like down, like they love acting. They're exactly like we can hang out with them.
Yes,
like, we just like being around them, and they're so just into it and are like, yep, I'm gonna give you whatever you want. Like they're such like pros. And then getting Laz, that took a little longer, but we
Yes.
really feel like it was worth it to get Laz and Yvonne together. We think really complement each other. And Laz is a guy who feels like he's warm, he sounds good with the kids. Les also sounds like if somebody was like looking at him sideways, he could like do something about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
He can be both. And that's what we needed. We needed somebody who is like, sounds like he's had a colorful life, but also like loves his kids and is kind of a, softy with them.
Mhm.
He was such a great get. Like, and he did take a while, but it's one of those things where, like, after we got him and we just, even that first session, we're like, this guy's perfect. Like he is Terry Hendricks,
And Yvonne too, where Yvonne is, she's, she can roast somebody. She's like, she's funny and she can kind of, dress you down verbally, but she also has this kind of like genuineness, like where you feel like she's really rooting for Terry, where she's like, hey man, like if you can get it together, I'm here. Like she's not going to let him off the hook, but she's also not she's not a one-dimensional character, I guess.
Right. I love how, it's a family show, but it's not like, it's your perfect family, because no family's perfect. It's messy, and every family has that messiness to it, but they're all kind of rooting for each other, which is really, really great. What do you have any sort of message that you're hoping that your viewers take away from watching the series?
I actually, I don't know if there's any message particularly. I just want people to watch this and feel seen and like feel like they can relate. I want them to be able to see, like, even though there's a Black family at its center, I want everyone to feel like they can relate to these characters and these guys could be our relatives or be our like our neighbors or whatever. Like that's what I want the takeaway from this to be.
I think also, I think for me, like kids seeing their parents as like three-dimensional people, where, you could either see your parents as a god, or you can see them as you get older, you see them just for their flaws. And it's like, it's neither. It's like they're three-dimensional people. And I also think, hopefully kids kind of fighting the power. Lisa stands up for what she believes in. And I think it's like, I think it's sometimes as adults, it's easy to say that, but kids are actually like, hey, you said that, how come you're not doing it? And you're like, oh, dang it. Like, and I think that's a cool conflict that these characters kind of end up embodying as you watch the show.
Well, that's my time, guys. Thank you both so much. I'm so excited to see the rest of the series, and I can't wait for everyone else to see it.
Awesome. Great talking to you, Carmen.
It was great to meet you both.
All right.
Thanks, Kami.
Take care.
Thank you so much.